In my quest to determine Adolf Eichmann's place in Hitler's hierarchy, I've seen the evidence that proves he was complicit in genocide. Now, I want to know just how deep his commitment was to carrying it out.
So where are we?
We are at the train station of Grunewald, which is basically at Berlin's west end.
I'm with historian Yoav Sapir at the main departure point for Berlin Jews destined to die in Nazi gas chambers.
So the majority of Jews that were deported from Berlin were deported right where we're standing here.
Right.
Today, Grunewald Station is a Holocaust memorial. But during World War II, it was arguably one of the busiest stations in Europe, at least when it comes to mass murder.
So what are these here?
These are plaques that commemorate each and every deportation that left Berlin between 41 and 45. The largest deportation in 1943 had 1,758 Jews on one train.
1,758 on one train.
For 4 years, Berlin's Jews were rounded up, taken to Grunewald, and crammed into sealed railway cars. They were deprived of food and water, and there was no sanitary facility other than a bucket. Many died on the trains themselves before they even reached the extermination camps.
What's so chilling to me standing on a platform in Berlin is that you see that we're not dealing with genocide on the battlefield. That was obviously had been happening, but we're dealing with genocide that's been planned. It's something that the state has decided to do in the most practical way possible.
They outsourced the killing to these murder factories. And then, of course, the question was, how do we facilitate this transportation? How do we get the Jews from Germany, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and so on? And that's where Eichmann comes in. That's where Eichmann is in charge in facilitating the kidnapping of families from their homes, forcing them onto trains, making sure that everything works well, the timetables, having the manpower, having the resources, having the trains on time to leave Berlin, to leave Paris, to leave Budapest, on the way to Auschwitz, for example.
At his trial, Eichmann was confronted by witness after witness. They all testified to his role in deporting Jews to their deaths.
dass Eichmann war derjenige, der alle Bestimmungen betreffend Juden getroffen hat, vorgeschlagen hat und auch sogar durchgeführt hat.
פתרון סופי, אז הוא קיבל את התפקיד לבצע את זה.
Despite the damning words, Eichmann continued to deny his direct involvement in their suffering.
So sind an diesen Sachen eine ganze Menge Personen, wenn ich mal so sagen will.
One of the most confusing things about Eichmann was his seeming normality. He comes across, at least, as just sort of your everyday person. That is scary to some extent because it suggests that that normal people might actually be capable of this level of atrocity.
Eichmann approaches his role within the final solution with the utmost zeal. I mean, he takes his job really seriously. And that's what makes him such a terrifying figure, because this is a big logistical exercise. His department is quite small. It's just a handful of people. Yet together, under Eichmann's stewardship, they manage to get all these people, these millions of people, sent to their deaths.
Now that we're approaching the end of the war, this is the beginning of 1945. And so the numbers are very small. These are the last Jews of Berlin, those who were trying to survive while hiding.
27th of March, 1945.
At this point in the war, the Third Reich is all but finished. Every Nazi knows it, including Eichmann, but he was determined to finish the job he started.
The last deportation that left Berlin, 18 Jews who almost made it. And then, in spite of everything, were still captured, and by fanatic Nazis, they were being deported right before the Soviets encircled Berlin.
That's less than a month and a half before the end of the war in Europe. This really hits things home for me because they're losing the war. It's the final months of the war. They're about to lose it, and yet they are still deporting Jews to death camps.
Indeed, they were losing the physical war, but for some Nazis, the war against the Jews was more important.
Eichmann's profound commitment to the final solution is nowhere more apparent than on this abandoned train platform. But he'd soon find himself unemployed.